Hello, and welcome back to Sleeping Gift. Tonight, allow me to share a story to accompany you as you drift off to sleep. Before we go any further, take a slow and gentle breath. Let the calm air fill your chest, then slowly exhale. Release every burden you have been carrying. Let your imagination gently guide you into this story. Now, let's begin the story. Breathe in, breathe out, and let me take you away for a moment into a story. Sorting through old letters by bedside lamp, light a quiet desk, gentle clock ticks, deep peaceful sleep. Before we enter this story, take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. Now, it is time for us to step into this journey. The desk stands quietly near the window, its wooden surface softened by time, its edges rounded by years of patient use. A single lamp rests near the back corner, casting a warm circle of light that settles gently across the desk like a calm evening glow spreading over still water. Beyond the lamp, a small stack of old letters waits. They are not arranged perfectly, but they are not messy either. They rest in a loose pile, some envelopes slightly tilted, some folded pages peeking out just enough to show their soft, yellowed edges. Paper that has rested for a long time develops a certain calmness to it, a quiet patience, as though it has learned how to wait without hurry. The room itself feels unhurried. The window is closed, but a faint coolness lingers near the glass. Outside, the night air moves slowly through unseen trees, and every now and then the softest whisper of wind brushes the frame. It is not loud enough to draw attention, only present enough to feel like a gentle companion to the quiet inside the room. On the wall nearby, a clock ticks. Tick. A small pause. Tick. The sound is not sharp. It moves softly through the room, blending with the stillness in a way that almost feels comforting, as though the clock itself understands the calm pace of the evening and has chosen to follow it. The chair at the desk shifts slightly as someone settles into it. Not quickly, not heavily, just a small movement, the faint creak of wood and fabric adjusting, like the quiet sigh of a room welcoming someone who has come to sit for a while. Hands rest on the desk. They remain there for a moment, simply feeling the surface of the wood. The desk is smooth but not perfectly polished. If fingertips move slowly across it, they can notice the faint grain lines beneath the skin, tiny ridges that tell the quiet story of the tree the wood once belonged to. The lamp hums very softly. The clock continues. Tick. Pause. Tick. One of the envelopes is gently lifted from the stack. The movement is slow enough that the air around it barely stirs. The envelope bends slightly between the fingers, the paper soft with age, the corners no longer sharp, but rounded by time. For a moment, it is simply held. There is no rush to open it. The warm light from the lamp spreads across its surface, revealing faint marks of handwriting that has faded just a little over the years. The ink remains readable, but softer now, as if the letters themselves have grown quieter with time. The envelope is placed back down again, not because there is any reason to hurry, only because the moment feels comfortable just as it is. The stack of letters sits there beneath the lamplight, each one carrying its own quiet history, though none of those histories ask to be remembered quickly. They rest peacefully together, like old leaves gathered in a calm corner of a garden. Outside the window, the night continues its slow breathing. Inside the room, the chair remains still. The hands move again, this time lightly straightening the small pile, aligning the edges so the envelopes form a softer, neater stack. The motion is gentle, almost absent-minded, the kind of movement that happens when the mind begins to settle into a rhythm. Tick, pause, tick. The clock does not hurry, and neither does the evening. The lamp glows warmly. The desk waits patiently, and the quiet work of sorting old letters begins in the calmest way possible, not as a task to be completed, but as something to be slowly experienced, one envelope at a time, beneath the steady breathing of the room and the soft, faithful ticking of the clock. The letters remain in their small stack beneath the warm circle of lamplight, resting quietly on the desk as though they have always belonged there, as though they have spent many evenings waiting in that same calm place. The hands return to them again, slowly, not with urgency, but with the kind of patient attention that appears naturally when the night is quiet and there is nothing else asking to be done. One envelope is lifted. The paper bends gently between the fingers, producing the softest whispering sound, a sound so small that it blends easily with the ticking of the clock on the wall. Tick, a quiet pause. Tick, the envelope is turned over once, then again, the movement steady and unhurried. The faded handwriting on the front rests calmly beneath the lamplight, each letter slightly uneven, each curve of ink a small trace left behind by a hand that once moved across the page. The flap opens with a faint breath of paper. Inside, a folded sheet waits. The sheet is carefully drawn out, unfolding slowly as it meets the warm air of the room. The crease lines remain gentle but visible, as though they remember the moment they were first folded long ago. For a moment, the paper simply rests on the desk. There is no need to rush into reading. The quiet presence of the letter itself feels enough. The room holds its stillness. Outside the window, the night wind brushes lightly through distant leaves, producing a faint, irregular rustling that drifts in and fades again, like a breath that has traveled a long distance before reaching the glass. The clock continues its steady rhythm. Tick, pause, tick. The letter is lifted again, this time only slightly, held within the circle of lamplight. The eyes move across a few lines of handwriting, not quickly. The words are followed slowly, one line at a time, allowing the meaning to arrive gently, the way small ripples move across calm water. After a moment, the letter is folded again along the same soft crease lines it has always known. The motion feels familiar, comfortable. It returns to its envelope with the same patience it had when it first arrived on the desk tonight. The envelope is placed to the side, beginning a new, smaller stack. Then the hands pause. They rest once more on the wooden surface of the desk, fingers relaxed, palms lightly touching the grain of the wood. The lamp glows steadily. The room breathes quietly, and the clock continues its soft work of measuring time in tiny steps. Tick, pause, tick. Another envelope waits in the original pile. It is lifted slowly, just as the first one was, as though the hands have already learned the gentle rhythm of this quiet activity. Lift, turn, open, unfold. Each movement flows into the next without hurry, like a small routine that feels comfortable simply because it repeats itself. The letters seem to understand this rhythm. They do not demand attention all at once. Each one is content to wait its turn, resting patiently beneath the lamplight. Outside, the night deepens slightly, though the change is almost impossible to notice. Inside, the air grows just a little more settled. The desk holds the letters, the lamp holds the light, and the quiet sorting continues, one slow envelope at a time, while the clock softly keeps its steady promise to move forward, never quickly, never loudly, only with the same calm tick and the same gentle pause. Again and again, the desk remains calm beneath the warm glow of the lamp. The circle of light spreads softly across the wooden surface, touching the envelopes, the folded pages, the resting hands, and then fading gently into the darker corners of the room where the light no longer reaches. Everything inside that small circle feels quietly present. The letters, the wood, the soft fabric of the sleeve resting near the edge of the desk, and the slow movement of breath rising and falling without effort. The clock continues its quiet rhythm from the wall. Tick, a small space of silence. Tick, the sound does not interrupt the room. It simply joins the stillness like a tiny step that repeats again and again along a path that has no hurry to end. Another envelope is chosen. It slides from the stack with the faintest brushing sound, paper moving gently against paper. The movement is slow enough that the edges barely shift the air around them. The envelope is thinner than some of the others. It bends softly as it is lifted, the paper worn just enough that it feels almost smooth between the fingers, like fabric that has been folded many times. For a moment, the envelope rests in the lamplight. The handwriting on its surface appears slightly curved, each letter leaning gently forward as though it was written by someone who preferred a calm and careful pace. The fingers trace the edge of the flap. The flap opens with a soft release. Inside, the folded page waits quietly. The page unfolds slowly, one crease at a time, the paper stretching just slightly as it returns to its open shape. The motion is delicate, the kind that asks for patience and rewards it with quiet. The letter rests on the desk. For a few breaths, nothing else moves. The room listens to itself. The small hum of the lamp, the distant wind, brushing past the window, the quiet weight of night settling outside, and the steady clock. Tick, pause, tick. The eyes move gently across the page, line by line, not searching for anything in particular, only allowing the words to pass through the mind at the same slow pace that the night itself seems to move. Some sentences feel familiar in the way old handwriting often does. Even when the exact words are not remembered, the shape of them carries a soft sense of recognition, like walking along a path that feels known, even if the steps have been forgotten. The paper gives off a faint scent, not strong, just the quiet smell of old paper that has spent many years folded carefully inside an envelope. It is a calm scent, a still scent, the kind that belongs to quiet drawers, wooden boxes, and forgotten shelves that hold their contents without complaint. The letter is folded again, slowly. The same crease lines guide the paper back into its resting shape, each fold finding its place as naturally as it did long ago. The envelope opens slightly to receive it. The paper slides inside with a soft whisper. Then the envelope is placed beside the others that have already been read tonight. The second stack grows a little taller. The first stack grows a little smaller, but the change is gradual, barely noticeable. The hands pause again. They rest lightly on the desk, fingers relaxed, and the warmth of the wood rising softly into the skin. Breath moves in, breath moves out. Outside the window, the wind drifts quietly through the darkness, touching distant leaves in slow passing motions. Inside, the lamp continues to glow, the letters continue to wait, and the clock continues its gentle promise. Tick, pause, tick. The night moves forward, though it does so in such small steps that it almost feels as though it is standing still. The room continues to hold its quiet shape. Nothing inside it seems eager to change. The desk remains where it has always been, steady beneath the lamp, its wooden surface warmed by the soft light that spreads across it like a calm evening glow resting upon still water. The letters are arranged in two small stacks now. One stack slightly taller, one stack slightly smaller, both resting patiently, as though they understand the gentle rhythm of the night and are content to move through it slowly. The hands rest for a moment longer before reaching again toward the first pile. The movement is familiar now. Lift, turn, open. The envelope slides free from the others with a faint brushing sound. Paper touching paper in a soft, quiet greeting. The clock continues its slow breathing on the wall. Tick, a gentle pause. Tick. The envelope is turned over once beneath the lamp, the warm light revealing faint lines where the paper is bent many times before. Its edges feel soft between the fingers, not fragile, but settled, like something that has spent many peaceful years simply existing. The flap opens. The small sound it makes is almost like a whisper. Inside waits another folded sheet, its surface carrying the calm weight of old ink and careful handwriting. The letter is drawn out slowly and placed upon the desk. For a moment, the eyes rest on the page without reading. The page itself seems comfortable in the light, its pale surface reflecting the gentle glow of the lamp, the ink lines stretching quietly across it like narrow paths through a wide and quiet field. Breath rises, breath falls. Outside the window, the wind brushes lightly through unseen branches, producing a faint rustle that appears and disappears like a soft thought passing through the night. Then the eyes begin to follow the lines, not quickly. Each word is allowed to arrive slowly, as though it has traveled a long distance through time before reaching this quiet desk. Some of the sentences carry small memories with them, not strong ones, just light impressions that appear gently, the way reflections appear on calm water before fading again. A small kitchen table beneath a window, a morning cup resting beside folded newspaper pages, the sound of distant footsteps in a hallway. None of these images stay for long. They arrive softly and then drift away just as quietly, leaving behind only the steady calm of the room and the soft weight of the present moment. The letter itself does not hurry its meaning. It simply rests in the lamplight while the eyes move slowly from one line to the next. Tick, pause, tick. The clock remains faithful to its quiet rhythm. When the final line has been reached, the hands fold the paper again along its familiar crease. The motion feels smooth and practiced. The paper returns easily to the shape it has known for years. The envelope opens slightly to welcome it back inside. Once returned, the envelope joins the growing second stack on the desk. The piles shift almost imperceptibly, one smaller, one larger. Yet the desk itself still feels full of calm space. There's no rush to finish. The hands remain resting beside the letters, fingertips lightly touching the wood as the warmth of the lamp settles gently across the room. Breath rises, breath falls. The lamp glows, the letters wait, and the quiet ticking of the clock continues to move through the room like a slow and patient guide, marking the passing of time in the softest possible way. The room grows a little quieter, not because any sound has disappeared, but because the mind begins to notice the silence that rests gently between each small sound. The spaces between the ticking of the clock feel wider now, like calm stretches of water between slow ripples. The lamp continues to glow softly. Its warm light settles across the desk and the letters, creating a quiet island of brightness in the middle of the dim room. The edges of the light fade slowly into shadow, and those shadows remain still, comfortable where they are. The hands rest for a while before reaching again toward the first stack. The movement is slower now, not from tiredness, but from a certain peaceful rhythm that has settled into the body. Lift, turn, open. The envelope makes its familiar whisper as the flap releases. Inside, another folded page waits patiently, as though it has been listening to the quiet rhythm of the room the entire time. The paper unfolds gently across the desk. The creases relax as the page opens fully beneath the lamplight. But before the eyes begin to follow the lines, there is a pause, a longer pause. The hands remain still. The page rests quietly on the desk, and the breath becomes easier to notice. Breath in, slow and quiet. Breath out, even slower. The chest rises gently and then settles again, like a calm tide touching the shore and slipping back into the sea. The clock continues. Tick, pause, tick. Each sound feels softer than before, as though the night itself is wrapping the room in layers of quiet. The eyes eventually move to the page. The handwriting flows across it in steady lines, each letter formed carefully, each word resting beside the next without hurry. The meaning of the sentences arrives gently. There are mentions of ordinary days, a walk down a familiar street, a window left open during a warm afternoon, the sound of distant laughter drifting through another room. None of these memories ask to stay for long. They simply pass through the mind like soft clouds moving across a wide sky. Breath in, breath out. The lamp hums very quietly, its light steady and unchanging. Outside the window, the wind has grown softer. It no longer brushes the glass as often. Instead, it moves somewhere farther away, touching leaves that cannot be seen from here. The letter remains in the hands for a while, not because it is long, not because it demands attention, but because the stillness around it feels comfortable. When the final line has been read, the page is folded again. The crease lines guide the movement, each fold settling naturally into place, as though the paper remembers exactly where it belongs. The envelope opens slightly. The letter returns inside with a quiet slide. Then the envelope is placed onto the second stack, which now sits calmly beneath the lamp. The first stack has grown noticeably smaller, but the hands do not reach for another envelope right away. Instead, they rest again on the desk, fingers lightly touching the wood, palms warm beneath the lamplight. Breath rises slowly. Breath falls slowly. Tick. Pause. Tick. The clock continues its gentle work, marking time without pressure, without demand. The room remains steady. The letters remain patient, and the quiet between each small sound grows softer, deeper, and more welcoming with every passing moment of the night. The room continues to settle into its quiet rhythm. Nothing moves quickly here. Even the air feels calm, resting gently against the desk, the lamp, the window, and the quiet stacks of envelopes that remain beneath the circle of light. The lamp glows with the same steady warmth. The desk holds its quiet surface, and the clock continues its soft and faithful ticking from the wall. Tick, pause, tick. The hands rest for a moment longer, feeling the smooth grain of the wood beneath the fingertips. The warmth from the lamp has slowly settled into the desk, and now the wood feels gently warm to the touch, as though it has been holding the light carefully all evening. Breath rises. Breath falls. Another envelope waits in the smaller stack that remains. The fingers slide it forward slowly, the edge of the paper brushing softly against the desk as it moves. Lift. Turn. Open. The small routine continues, each motion flowing into the next without thought, without effort, like a quiet habit that has always existed in the calm hours of night. The envelope opens with a soft whisper. Inside, the folded letter rests, exactly as the others have rested. The page unfolds slowly, one crease, then another. The paper spreads across the desk beneath the warm light. The eyes move along those lines, slowly. But now the reading itself feels softer, almost secondary to the quiet presence of the page and the lamplight. The letter becomes part of the room, part of the quiet, part of the slow breathing of the night. Tick, pause, tick. The clock continues, the same distance between each sound, the same patient rhythm. The lamp hums very softly, a sound so small, it almost disappears into the silence around it. Outside the window, the wind moves through distant branches again, though now the sound is faint and stretched thin by the quiet night air. The page remains open on the desk for a while. The eyes follow a few sentences, then pause, then follow another line. The handwriting curves gently, as though the person who once wrote these words moved their pen slowly and without hurry. There is something calm about that thought. The idea that somewhere in the past, someone also sat quietly breathing slowly, writing these lines beneath their own small circle of light. Perhaps another lamp, perhaps another clock ticking softly nearby. The letter is folded again. The creases guide the motion just as they always have. The envelope opens slightly to receive it. The paper slides inside. Then the envelope is placed onto the second stack, which now rests comfortably near the edge of the lamplight. The difference between the two stacks has grown. One now holds only a few remaining envelopes. The other has become taller, though still neat and calm, the edges aligned gently by the quiet work of the evening. The hands remain on the desk again. They do not hurry to reach for the next envelope. Instead, they rest, fingers relaxed, breathing slow and steady. Breath in, breath out. Tick, pause, tick. The clock continues to mark the quiet passage of time. The lamp continue. The lamps can use to glow. The letters continue sane me. The letters in the room, wrapped in soft lamplight and patient silence, seems to grow even calmer, as though the night itself has settled comfortably into every corner of the space. The room feels even quieter now. The lamp still glows in its steady way, but the light seems softer, as if it has grown comfortable resting there for so long. The circle of warmth on the desk is smaller than it once felt, though the lamp has not moved. It is only the stillness of the night that makes everything feel a little more gentle, a little more settled. The clock remains faithful to its quiet rhythm. Tick, pause, tick. Each sound moves through the room like a small step across soft ground. On the desk, only a few envelopes remain in the first stack. They lie close together, their edges slightly uneven, their paper surfaces calm beneath the lamplight. The second stack, resting beside them, is now much taller. The envelopes aligned in a quiet tower of folded pages and resting words. The hands move again, though the movement is slower than before. The fingers slide one envelope from the remaining pile. It lifts easily, the paper bending slightly in the warm air of the room. For a moment, the envelope is simply held in the light. The handwriting across its surface is faint but steady, the lines of ink forming soft curves that seem almost to rest upon the paper rather than sink into it. The flap opens with a gentle release. The familiar sound returns, the quiet whisper of paper separating, a sound that has repeated itself many times tonight. Inside, the folded page waits. The letter unfolds carefully, guided by the same crease lines that have carried it through many quiet years. The page rests on the desk. The hands move away slightly, allowing the letter to lie flat within the lamplight. Breath rises, breath falls. The chest lifts slowly and settles again, the rhythm steady, like a tide that moves without effort. The eyes follow the lines of writing, but now the reading itself happens in softer moments. One line, then a pause, then another line. The meaning of the words feels distant and calm, like voices heard from another quiet room far down a hallway. They are present, but they do not ask for much attention. The clock continues. Tick, pause, tick. Outside the window, the wind barely stirs now. The trees have grown still, their leaves resting quietly beneath the night sky. Inside the room, the only movements are small ones. A breath, the turning of a page, the slow folding of paper. When the final line of the letter has been reached, the hands return to it gently. The page is folded again. Each crease finds its place easily, as though the paper remembers the exact shape it has always known. The envelope opens slightly. The folded letter slides inside. Then the envelope is placed carefully onto the taller stack, where it rests peacefully among the others. Only 2 envelopes remain in the first pile. They sit quietly, their presence small now compared to the growing stack beside them. The hands return to the desk and rest again. The wood feels warm beneath the fingers. The air feels still. Breath in, breath out. Tick, pause, tick. The room seems to listen to itself, as though the night has slowed enough to notice every quiet detail, the faint hum of the lamp, the softness of the air, the gentle weight of the letters that have been sorted one by one. And now, with only a few envelopes left, even the small movements of the evening grow lighter, softer, and slower, like the final pages of a long and peaceful moment that is slowly beginning to come to rest. The room has grown very still. The lamp continues to glow, but its light now feels softer, as though it is gently dimmed with the passing hours. The circle of warmth on the desk remains steady, yet the edges of the light blend more smoothly into the quiet shadows of the room. Those shadows rest calmly against the walls, against the floor, against the quiet corners that hold nothing but the stillness of night. The clock remains where it has always been. Tick. A long, comfortable pause. Tick. The sound is softer now, not because the clock has changed, but because the silence around it has grown deeper, making each small sound feel as though it floats through the air rather than moves across it. On the desk, only 2 envelopes remain in the smaller stack. They lie side by side, their pale surfaces warmed by the lamplight. The second stack, now much taller, rests peacefully nearby. Each envelope placed there with the same patient care throughout the evening. The hands remain resting on the desk for a while longer, fingers relaxed, palms warm against the wood. Breath moves gently through the body. In, out, in, out. The slow rhythm of breathing blends with the quiet rhythm of the clock until both seem to belong to the same calm pattern. After a time, one of the final envelopes is lifted. The motion is almost effortless now, as though the hands have learned the quiet language of paper and light. The envelope bends softly between the fingers. It turns once beneath the lamp. The handwriting across its front rests quietly, the ink lines pale but steady, like paths that have been walked many times. The flap opens. The familiar whisper of paper returns, softer than ever. Inside waits the folded page. The letter unfolds slowly, guided by its gentle creases. The paper spreads across the desk, catching the warm glow of the lamp in a way that makes the surface seem almost calm enough to breathe. The eyes move across the page, but now the reading feels even slower. One sentence, a pause, another sentence, a longer pause. The words drift into the mind like soft leaves carried on still water. They arrive quietly, and after a moment they drift away again, leaving only the peaceful presence of the room. Outside the window, the night has grown deep and quiet. The wind has almost completely rested. Even the distant rustling of leaves has faded into something barely noticeable. Inside, the lamp hums gently. The desk holds the letter. The clock continues. Tick, pause, tick. After the final line has been reached, the hands return to the page. The letter folds easily along its familiar lines. The envelope opens to welcome it back. The paper slides inside with a soft breath of sound. Then the envelope is placed onto the taller stack. Only one envelope remains now in the first pile. It rests alone beneath the lamplight, its pale surface calm and patient, but the hands do not reach for it yet. Instead, they rest once more upon the desk. The warmth of the wood, the softness of the air, the steady rise and fall of breath. In, out, tick, pause, tick. The lamp glows quietly above it all, and the room feels as though it has gently settled into the deepest part of the night, where every movement slows, every sound softens, and even time itself seems content to move forward one very small step at a time. The room rests in a quiet that feels deep and steady. The lamp continues to glow above the desk, its light soft and patient, spreading across the wood in the same calm circle it has held all evening. Nothing inside that circle feels hurried. The envelopes, the folded pages, the resting hands, all of them seem to move at the same gentle pace as the night itself. The clock on the wall continues its quiet work. Tick, a long pause. Tick. Each sound feels almost distant now, as though it travels through layers of calm air before reaching the desk. On the wooden surface, only one envelope remains in the small stack. It lies alone beneath the lamplight. Its paper is pale and quiet, its edges slightly softened with time, its surface resting peacefully where it has waited through the slow rhythm of the evening. The taller stack beside it holds the many letters that have already been read and folded again. They form a quiet tower of paper, each envelope placed there with care, each one now resting among the others like leaves gathered gently in a calm corner of the garden. The hands remain still for a while, fingers resting lightly against the desk. The warmth of the wood remains gentle beneath the skin. Breath moves slowly through the body. In, out, in, out. The chest rises softly and falls again, each breath slower than the one before. Outside the window, the night has grown very calm. The trees no longer move. The air beyond the glass feels still and wide, as though the world outside has also settled into the same quiet rhythm that fills the room. Eventually, the hands move again, slowly. The final envelope is lifted from the desk. The paper bends slightly between the fingers, producing the softest whispering sound. The envelope turns once in the lamplight, the faded handwriting resting gently across its surface. For a moment, nothing else happens. The envelope is simply held. The lamp glows above it. The clock continues. Tick, pause, tick. The flap opens slowly. The small sound of paper releasing itself is almost lost in the quiet of the room. Inside, the final folded page waits. The letter is drawn out carefully. The paper unfolds along its familiar creases, each fold relaxing into the flat surface of the desk. The page rests beneath a warm light. The eyes move slowly across the lines, not searching, not hurrying, simply following the shapes of the words as they rest quietly upon the paper. The meaning arrives gently like a soft breeze passing through a still room. After a while, the page is folded again. The creases guide the motion easily, returning the letter to the shape it has known for many years. The envelope opens slightly. The letter slides back inside. Then the envelope is placed gently onto the tall stack beside the others. Now there is only one stack left on the desk, a quiet collection of letters resting together beneath the lamp. The hands return to their resting place upon the wood. The desk feels warm. The room feels calm. Breath rises slowly. Breath falls slowly. Tick. Pause. Tick. The clock continues to mark the quiet passing of time, though now the room feels so still that each moment seems to stretch gently into the next, like a long and peaceful breath that is not yet finished leaving the body. The desk is quiet now. The envelopes have all been gathered into a single stack, resting neatly beneath the warm glow of the lamp. Their pale edges form soft layers of paper, each one settled peacefully upon the next, like pages that have slowly come to rest after a long and gentle journey through time. Nothing remains to be sorted. Nothing waits to be opened. The work of the evening is finished without hurry, without effort, simply arriving at its natural end the way night slowly dappens into its calmest hours. The hands remain resting on the desk, fingers relaxed, palms warm against the wood. The grain of the desk feels smooth and familiar beneath the skin, holding the quiet warmth that the lamp has shared with it all night. The clock continues its steady rhythm on the wall. Tick. A long, comfortable pause. Tick. The sound drifts softly through the room, never sharp, never demanding. It simply reminds the night to keep moving forward in its slow and patient way. Breath rises. Breath falls. In. Out. The movement is gentle now, almost effortless, like waves touching the shore in the quietest part of the evening when the tide has nearly come to rest. The lamp hums very softly. Its light spreads across the desk, touching the stack of letters, the resting hands, the quiet edges of the room. The glow seems softer than before, as though it too has grown calm after watching the slow rhythm of the night unfold. Outside the window, the world rests. The wind has disappeared into the distance. The trees stand still. Even the darkness beyond the glass feels peaceful, wide and quiet beneath the sleeping sky. Inside the room, the stack of letters waits quietly on the desk. For a moment, it almost feels as though they breathe with the room itself, rising and settling with the slow rhythm of the night, not moving, not shifting, only resting in the same calm presence as everything around them. The hands move once more, not to sort, not to open, only to slide the stack of envelopes gently toward the center of the desk. The motion is small, soft. The edges of the envelopes align neatly, forming a quiet bundle of paper that holds its place beneath the lamplight. Then the hands return to rest. The fingers relax again. The body settles deeper into the chair. Breath continues, slow, even, untroubled. Tick, pause, tick. The clock continues its quiet promise to keep time, though the moments now feel wide and unhurried, stretching softly into one another like long, gentle breaths. The lamp glows above the desk. The letters sleep beneath it. The room holds its silence carefully, as though it understands the quiet importance of this calm hour. And little by little, the night seems to grow even softer. The shadows deepen gently along the walls. The air grows still. The lamp's light rests quietly upon the desk, upon the letters, upon the peaceful stillness of the room. Nothing more needs to be done. Nothing more needs to be remembered. The letters have returned to their quiet place. The desk has returned to its calm surface, and the night continues breathing slowly around them all, carrying the room deeper into silence, deeper into rest, until the soft ticking of the clock becomes just another distant rhythm inside the long and gentle quiet of sleep. Where are you drifting over tonight? Let the weightlessness take over your body. If this story helped you find peace, please consider subscribing for more nightly journeys. Sleep well, traveler.